Hello everybody, and welcome back to the next episode of Kerbal Space Program. So if you missed last episode, we had a daring EVA down to the surface of Gilly, which actually ended up not being too daring at all. We did manage to successfully get back to our parent spacecraft here. Old Matlorf Kerbin did the mission, and that's basically where he landed right there. We managed to put a flag right on the surface of Eve, or not Eve, Gilly rather. There's Eve over there with our probe landed on the surface. So I think with both of our contracts complete, it's time to get these guys back home again and leave this little system here. Now there is an easy way to do this and a hard way, and an efficient way and a non-efficient way to do it. We'll see which way I pick, but first, before we do anything, we have to line up our phase angle, and again, just like in our Duna series, it's doing that thing again where it's not showing the celestial bodies because I'm around a moon. So what I'm going to have to do is go back to the Space Center and put that little probe back on the launch pad again, just so we can warp time forward. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, we're back with our little tiny probe here, which I've entitled the Time Waster. Just the perfect way to just sit here and waste time as the clouds roll in. But let's go to the celestial body. We want to point to Eve, and right now it's at a -319 phase angle, but what the one we want to put it in is going to be 36.7. so we got to go ahead and do some warping here. From Eve to Kerbin it says 36.7, but what we're going to want to get it down to is, I think, -36.07, just because we're pointing at it from the other planet. At least that's the way I understand it. So again, I'm just going to do a cut and wait till we are just about at the right phase angle. Alright, now I seem to have gone past it by just like a decimal point. 35.94, it's supposed to be 36.07, so we're like just a decimal off, but I think that'll be okay. And basically you can see the relationship here. Eve again is just behind Kerbin, so that when we make our escape, both these planets will kind of line up and we'll meet up right around here-ish, something like that. But alright, so thank you Time Waster. We'll get you off the launch pad there, and we'll go back and we'll fly our Eve Explorer. Thank you for that. Zero science we got back. Alright. Back to the Space Center here. Let's go to Eve Explorer. Hopefully it hasn't crashed around Gilly, and it looks like it's pretty good. The guys have just been hanging out in their ship, playing cards. Kerbal cards, I guess. There they are. And, oh, for a second there I thought that the solar panels were missing. I was like, what? Oh, that's a pretty nice shot right there. Planet Eve, Moon Gilly. Alright, so we are in the correct phase, it seems like. So yeah, like I said, there's a couple ways to do this. We can kind of burn to get back into orbit around Eve, and then use Eve as a slingshot, or we could just say, screw all that noise, and boost ourselves in this general direction, using Gilly's gravity. Which I'd like to try, actually, because again, it's like a kind of a pain to goof around with all that other stuff. Let's just see what happens. In fact, that's basically the direction we want. Swing around, and we will kind of get like an Eve bonus gravity, whatever you call it, slingshot. It just won't be as efficient as if we were to burn right next to it, but anyways. Let's just keep pulling the prograde toggle until we can kind of see what happens here. And I hate how the maneuver node does that sometimes. I just have to adjust it a little bit. I want to make sure that it is going that way, basically. Wow, yeah, so we will actually get a little bonus from Eve, which is pretty sweet. Although it is kind of messing things up. Ooh. That's not good. We're trying to burn straight across, and because Eve is over here, it just happens to be in the wrong position. It's causing us to skew upwards and then that's not good for our inclination there, so that we might have to reconsider some options, although I really would prefer not to. Think. Let me try to figure this out here. Alright, so basically what I've done here is I've fast-forwarded time a little bit until Gilly was a little closer to Eve in this regard, so that when we do finally break out of the orbit, it doesn't really skew us too much. I mean, it will a little bit, just because it's a little higher than us. It's going to kind of fling us that direction, but it does get us pretty darn close, and what then we can do is just further get it down once we escape. I just want to kind of get away from Eve for the moment, because it's kind of annoying me just sitting there like a giant gravity well affecting our orbits. Now look, let's just, to be fair, this is probably not the best way to go about doing this, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm really not sure of the proper way to do this. I mean, I've run like scenarios where I burn back towards Eve, but that always gives me like a skewed orbit, like either too far in this direction or too far in this direction, and it doesn't line up with the way I'm supposed to go. So again, I'm just going to go with what I know and what I do best, which is just escaping in the general direction. So again, this is not the like 100% best way to do this, but for now I think this is going to work. It's going to get us pretty darn close, and then we can always just further correct once we get a little closer. So this node's coming up in like 2 hours, and this is the fastest I could warp, so we will just go ahead and cut till we get there. Alright, so I've pretty much gotten us to the node, and I fired my engines just to check how long it was going to take, and it already like pretty much boosted us out of Gilly's orbit. This rock is incredibly small, and there's no gravity, but we are now approaching our actual vector. So that's what we're going to do. Basically, this is accomplishing a couple things. And we get a slight gravity boost from Eve, I think, because this burn really isn't that long, all things considered. We would essentially be burning around the same time around Eve. We would just get a better slingshot. So again, we're using a moon for a slingshot, basically, instead of a planet. But hey, you know, it kind of works. It's gonna work. We'll get there. So we're just gonna warp ahead just a little bit, just to get this thing right down. And we're just gonna look for... There's our purple orbit boosting out back towards Kerbin. Ooh, wow, that went a little too far. Hopefully when all is said and done, we'll be able to get a nice encounter with Kerbin. Bring it nice and down. All the way down inside Kerbin's atmosphere. Alright, we're getting there now. Alright, let's see what we got. 300,000 kilometers. I might just do a reverse because I think I went a little too far. Let's just reverse a little bit. Just to bring it pretty much as close as we can get it before it disappears. Bringing it right down. Looks like it's slowing down. Oh, and it disappeared. Okay, so we want to bring it back up just a touch. It mostly has to do with the fact that the descending node is off a little bit. We're off by about 2 degrees, 2.5 degrees. Okay, we'll leave it right about there. Alright. So we are essentially, and the reason we're going up a little bit is because Eve is right there tugging on us to move us upwards. That's kind of why that's happening. So let's just say goodbye to Gilly. Good riddance. Gilly's kind of annoying because it's just so small that you can't really time warp around it. You have no idea how much time I just sat and waited off camera for just to move around. And this is essentially us saying goodbye to Eve. Sun right there, nice and big. You guys ought to see the sun from Moho. Moho is even harder to get to, in my opinion. It's because basically what it all comes down to is once you get that close to the sun, all your maneuvers just become brake, slow down, slow down, slow down. Every correction is like slowing down so you don't go too fast. So it's very... it burns a lot of the fuel. Alright, so we might just go ahead and escape. Wave goodbye, guys. Till next time. Good riddance. I never really like coming to Eve. It's always kind of just bleh, Eve, you know. It's got the inclined orbit. Just makes it a little more of a pain in the arse. Okay, here we are. So here now is where we can start affecting things. Now the ascending node is kind of far away, but let me just do a little test. What happens if we push down? We're at about 203. That does go down, but we kind of lose our encounter. But we do get a more... we're now below the orbit. Let's see. Yeah, so that's kind of making it worse. Yeah, I might not screw with that too much. What I will screw with, though, is... let's see. I feel like we're behind Kerbin, so... or maybe not. Maybe we're too far ahead of it. Yeah, that's getting it. Okay. Yeah, so we're actually ahead of the game here, so we have to slow down. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. There we go, it's like our first encounter. Excellent. 74. So you can just fix it a little more. 82. 74. 70. 52. Alright, so I just pushed forward a little bit. 31. 39, that was worse. 7. Alright, so we're really getting there now. What I might just do is use that as a guide, and it's going to be all the way up here. So that's fine. We'll just kind of find that node. The craft looks a lot lighter and a lot better now that the probe is disconnected from it. Find that node. Here we are. So it's going to be in 32 days. It's only going to be 25 seconds. So let's go ahead and get up there. We'll just try to get it as close as possible. Alright, that's good enough. Let's fire these engines up. Get this burn underway. Making our little changes here. So again, we'll just kind of use this now as a guide. See how close we can get it without going too far in the other direction. Oop, which is right now. Okay. So we're down to a million and a half meters. We're getting there. Let's see, maybe at this point it would behoove us to... let's see, actually it looks like we are going to meet it, but let me just see what happens if I pull down a little bit. What happens to our encounter? We got 1.5. That makes it worse. And that makes it worse. So that's not the answer. Let's see. If we wait a little further, 1.5 and 5, it gets worse. 7, so again, that's not really the answer either. That makes it worse, and everything makes it worse. So I and you know, 1,000,000 meters isn't really that far away. I think we might just leave it, you know, to be honest, and let's just see what happens if as we move forward a little bit. And you can see that we are catching up on it. We are practically even with it now, which is interesting. Let's see. If I put this in target mode, it doesn't really show us our relative velocity. I was going to say, what if we could do this like a rendezvous and kind of burn in the opposite direction just to slow it down, but it doesn't really work that way. Again, I don't really think that pushing, let's see, pushing closer to the target, I don't really think would do much. No, not really. It kind of just makes it worse. Oh, well, it does make it a little better. I'm not going to bother. I think we're coming in at a nice trajectory. Although, what happens if we move farther? 1.5, I think that probably makes it worse. Yeah, 9. And 17. Yeah, so I'm going to do like I said and just leave it. And we are coming down slightly to meet it, so that's what's happening here. Let's take a look in reality cam here. I think that's Kerbin right there. Yep. There she is. Hello, Kerbin, you beautiful blue thing, you. Alright, let's get back. We'll just make sure we get that encounter, and then we can also continue to screw with it just to make sure we get it nice and close. Alright. So we are now in the gravity effects of planet Kerbin, and again we're going to come at it with a nice polar orbit. That always just seems to happen. So let's add a maneuver node, and I'm going to go ahead and just bring this up so that we eventually go into the atmosphere. Basically burning north. Alright. So I'm just going to watch periapsis. Height is 900,000. I'm going to bring that periapsis right into the planet. We're going to run 35, maybe 30 itself. Right there. That ought to do us. Okay, so basically that is going to be it. That's going to get us home, hopefully. Again, hopefully we don't come crashing through any mountains or any strange landscapes. Who knows? Let's go ahead and get closer. And watch it spin eloquently below us. As we're going to come right over the poles, the South Pole. Wonderful. There's a screenshot right there. Love it. Alright. So I think I'm going to hold on to this bit. We had so much fuel left. It's such a shame. You know what I could try to do is try to hold on to all of this. I mean, forget decoupling. And if these parachutes can hold everything, I might just leave it. Save a little extra cash. Isn't that a sight? There's the auroras, the southern auroras. We might just actually be able to do some southern science. Do you think we could, game? What do you think? Yeah, I think we can. Alright, finally, crew report. in space near Kerbin. It's not showing, however, that we're over the poles. Which is sad. Or was it maybe the EVA over the poles? That might have been what it was. Yeah, that's what we want. Ice caps. Alright, we got an extra 8 science. That works, right? 8 science from around the poles. We finally got our polar data that we've been trying to get from many moons ago. Let's get our solar panels back inside the ship. Because we are getting very close now to the atmosphere. And there's the southern ice caps right down there. Basically Antarctica. I can't quite find those auroras. I thought they'd be a little more visible from where we were, but or maybe they're a little further ahead. Yeah. We're just about in the atmosphere now. Let's see. We're definitely going to land on the dark side. Coming in. So let's see, I might put this like that first, just to get those parachutes to deploy. Alright guys, you did awesome. You did some really good work. Saved a lot of fuel. Got those 2 contracts complete. There's the auroras. We're flying kind of right through them. Oh, look at, oh man. That is it right there. Oh wow, I'm so glad. I'm so glad we were able to see that. That's what I wanted to see right there. Well, that's pretty cool too. Coming in flaming through the atmosphere as the aurora borealis, the southern auroras, spark the sky above us. Now we're coming in hot. Just keep an eye on our power usage here. Oh, we're directly on just the underside of the planet. Oh wow. How cool is that? You know what? We are going to land really close to the KSC. Hopefully, if we can just not lose as much momentum, we're gonna land pretty close to it. It's just a little further north. Hell, are we even decelerating enough? We're already on the way out. We might not even deorbit. I'm gonna have to turn this thing around. Have to do a little burn because we didn't come shallow enough into the atmosphere, or rather we were too shallow. That's what I meant to say. I'm just gonna boost us. Hopefully we can brake hard enough. I'd prefer to land like right here. That would be ideal. So we're kind of having to slow ourselves down because we're already on the way out of the atmosphere and it's not enough drag. See here, the drag factor is decreasing, but this should do it for us. As long as we get that apoapsis into the atmosphere, we will definitely sink. Yeah, there we go. We almost like skipped off the atmosphere like a rock on a pond. That's not really what we want to do. We almost went right out of the atmosphere again. How embarrassing would that be? So I am just going to keep decelerating until hopefully we can get this all the way down right around to here. This way we can land at that KSC. Pretty sure we have plenty of fuel. Yeah, we could keep doing this for another 5 minutes. Well, I guess that extra fuel did come in handy, huh? Let's see. It's quite interesting. Of course, the ISP of these engines now is a little less because we are inside the atmosphere. These engines aren't quite as effective in an atmosphere, but I think that might do us right there. Of course, we will continue to decelerate because we are in the atmosphere, but I think that's our continent right there. Just for fun, maybe maybe we could aim towards the coastline there. Of course, the planet will rotate, so that might not even be necessary. But just in case. We landed at night. It's amazing. We're in the atmosphere, but we're still going pretty fast. I think we're going to do another re-entry. There's going to be a double re-entry back into Kerbin, where I'm pretty sure we are going to start to burn up again at some point. Because we are decelerating now quite rapidly. Yeah, there we go. Wow, so we kind of did a double re-entry here in this episode. That's interesting. That's never quite happened to me before. I love when these little crazy things happen like that. I might not bother with that burn. The planet will rotate enough to where practically, and I kind of do want to land in the water. Well, maybe. I'll try. Like I said, I'm going to try to hold on to this thing. The service module here. As ridiculous as that sounds. Let's see, the KSC should be, what, like, right around here, right? Right around this area. So we're going to be a little offshore from it, and that's basically what I want. I don't want to land really on the land. Yeah, it's practically right around here. Wow, there we go. Oh, that might be that little island. Alright, I think it's time. Let's get these... Yeah, there we are. Get these parachutes out. Pull the ripcord. And let's see how slow we can... Oh, and the city's... Suddenly there's a blackout. There's a sudden blackout on Kerbin. Alright. Yeah, these engines are pretty much useless inside of the atmosphere. I just don't want to rip the spacecraft apart when they deploy finally. That should be good enough. And they should deploy right around 500 meters, which is just above the surface. Yeah, we're just a little offshore. We're about 80 kilometers away from the Kerbal Space Center, which, hey, coming back from Eve, that's pretty darn good, if I do say so. That's not too bad. And we've deployed. Very nice. Hopefully this thing won't completely fall apart. If it does, I'll just jettison in it. Just get it out of the way. Alright, let's just do a little physical warp. Oh! Oh no! That's not what I wanted to happen. Oh man, thank God I quick saved. Hold on a sec. We definitely don't want that to happen. That was terrible. That was just awful. We can't have that happen. So there are parachutes there? What? Wait a second. That was weird. It's like suddenly the parachutes aren't there anymore. Are you kidding me? What? This is absurd. No. No. This is not happening right now. Well, folks, this is a disaster. So I've tried about 1,000,000 different ways to reload this. As soon as we get in here, I move my engines to full throttle because for some reason, I guess when you reload, your parachutes just don't open anymore. I've got all my engines firing at full blast, and I managed to lose all of the Science Juniors, all of the goo reports. The only thing that lives is the capsule and these extra science things. It's really a big giant shame because after all that, after all those goo reports and Science Juniors, I don't think there's any way that we can save this thing. Like, I've tried to cut this thing off. It kills everybody. Let's see. What else can we try? We'll get this thing burning. We'll get those things burning. We'll try to cut it off, maybe. Oh. There's just not enough thrust to save all that stuff. And that's such a shame because it's just the fact that those parachutes are no longer deployed. I can't get over that. It's just such a bug. And it's kind of my fault for being stupid and trying to save it that close to shore. I should have known something like that would happen. Like, oh, parachutes, why do you let me down? But as you can see, that's it. We're done. But let's look on the bright side of things. We've got the capsule, we've got the guys alive, we've got all these science things that we did take readings from. Let's see, which one didn't we get? Of course, it's not letting me click anything at the moment. Of course, I guess because we're too far sunk. Oh, wait. Yeah, no, it's doing that thing where we can't click anything. But let's just see how much we get. I'm sure we'll get something for all those things. Oh, so we did earn 700 science. Okay. That's, you know, all in all, that's not too bad. Plus, you got to consider all those crew reports that we sent back. So we have a total of 1,500 now, which, alright, all things considered, that's not so bad. So what we managed to save were the EVA reports. We did get the surface samples. I mean, that's pretty darn good. And the EVA reports, the temperature scan, the gravity scan, and the vessel recovery from Eve. Coupled with the science we got back from the service probe, all is not lost. And we did recover 94% of the parts because we were so close to KSC. So I'm going to look at this on the bright side. We got all our crew back. Reputation is 952. Our money is amazing. We're doing really good money-wise. We have 2 million. It's just, man, we just lost all that... all those material reports. Look at this. All those 4 material reports are gone now. Oh, that's such a shame. But, you know, what are you going to do? Look on the bright side of things, and all we can do is move forward. So, we can plan our next mission from here. And, yeah, plant a flag on Eve. That's probably not going to happen anytime soon, just because once you plant that flag, those guys are pretty much stuck there. One of these days, perhaps I'll figure out a good vessel to get to Eve, but what I think we'll do next is a jewel exploration, because that just sounds awesome. And, of course, we can grab the BOP and the pole ones, because those are 2 of the moons of Jewel. So I think that'll be something exciting to look forward to. We're going to go out to the next planet out further than Duna, further than Drace. We're going to hit that gas giant, the big green gas giant Jewel. So look forward to that in the next episode of Kerbal Space Program. Thank you for watching.